Hey guys, in this video we're going to see what is programming and the basics of it. So the first thing is, what is programming? I've mentioned the formal definition here, but you can read it. Computer programming is a process of designing and building an executable computer program to accomplish what a specific computing result. What that means is it's just a thing that tells your computer to do whatever you want it to. So how do we do this? We do this by using various programming languages and types. So a programming language, the formal definition is a formal language comprising a set of instructions that produce various kinds of outputs. Programming languages are used in computer programming to implement algorithms. Most programming languages consist of instructions for computers. So what this means is a programming language contains a set of instructions that can be understood by the computer. Examples of programming languages include C, C++, Java, and Python. Why do we require programming languages? Your computer can only understand zeros and ones, which is known as machine language or binary. So for programmers to write the code in the way the computer understands, which is zeros and ones, it's very difficult because if you miss a zero or you put the wrong number of zeros or ones, it can lead to errors and it's very difficult to remember. Hence, programming languages such as Python, Java, whatever examples I gave in the previous slides are used. In C and Python and these languages, the instructions are similar to like English words like int, float, bool, like that. These languages which I used are called high-level programming languages. With high-level programming languages, it's easier to fix and find errors and write the program in general. How do we classify programming languages? Programming languages are classified on many bases, like their function, their use, their characteristics, etc., etc. I mentioned some of the classifications here, like procedural languages versus object-oriented, compiler versus interpreted, high level versus assembly versus machine. I'll explain them in the next slide. So the first classification is procedural versus object-oriented programming. In procedural programming, the program is executed line by line and objects are not allowed. I'll tell you what objects are. In object-oriented programming, the program allows objects. Objects are things in code which can have its own data, also called attributes, and its own functions, also called instances. Like in real life, the attributes are its various buttons, its color, its size, its shape, and its functions are to change channel, to increase volume, etc., etc. Now we talk about compiler versus interpreter languages. Some programming languages such as C, C++ need a program called a compiler. What the compiler does is it translates the programming language such as C and C++ into machine code. In the previous slide, I explained that your computer can only understand zeros and ones, so it can't understand these high-level languages such as C, C++, etc. Interpreter, on the other hand, is another program used by other languages such as Python and Java. When you run the code, the interpreter converts the high-level language into zeros and ones just before execution of that line. So it's also called just-in-time interpreter because it converts the language seconds before it's executed. Now we come to markup versus scripting languages. Scripting languages use similar commands to Python. Markup languages use for front-end development. So basically what you're seeing on screen when you go to a website. Scripting languages are used for back-end development. So basically if you click anything on the website, it says waiting for or waiting to right in the corner. So that's the backend development, the processing part. Markup languages are used to define structure of data which doesn't use any logic or algorithm. Well, scripting languages are generally slower because they need to be compiled, as in translated to machine code zeros and ones. Example of scripting language is JavaScript. Now, syntax of a programming language. Syntax is a common word used in programming. You hear it everywhere. So what syntax basically means, it's like it shows you how to write the code. It shows the structure and how you should follow it. If you don't follow it, you'll get error. The code won't work. I have given two examples of a syntax of for loop. We'll get to the for loop in future videos. Look at the syntax in C versus in Python. So initialization, condition, and increment is there in C, C++, and Java, where in Python it's a thing in a list of things, an item in a list of items, like that. Finally, we come to common terms used in programming. You hear these terms in most things related to programming when you're doing the program, when you're learning a program, these common terms, including syntax. So the first thing is logic. Logic refers to the tactic or approach or how you're going to solve the problem. Example, search a given number from 1 to 10 till you reach the last element or item or number. Control refers to which part of the code is being executed or displayed or which part you're at. I can't show an example, but we'll see this very often in the future videos that I upload. Thanks for watching.